Konnichiwa! Shalom! Ciao! Bonjour! Namaste! Jumbo!
Bienvenidos! Hey, my name is Jedley. This is Reading with Your Kids. We're beaming out to you in the entire universe from the beautiful, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. You know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I really believe that real magic happens when we share stories together. When a child sits down with a parent, grandparent, teacher, or trusted adult and opens up a book, hearts connect, imaginations grow, and love shines brighter. Please help us grow our mission to help all families grow closer through reading by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network, and they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, Amazon Music, CastBox, Audible. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really wonderful show for you today. First up, the Tidy Dad. Tyler Moore is here to celebrate Tidy Up Your Life. And later in the show, Eileen Halpin, the art director and senior editor for Platypus Media, is going to be telling us about their Literacy Access Initiative. Hey, my friends, we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read, The Noble Adventures of Beryl and Carol, written by Jeremy Shear. You know, one of my favorite things about being the host of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is discovering books that remind me why I fell in love with reading in the first place. Jeremy Shear's The Noble Adventures of Beryl and Carol is one of those books. This is the kind of story that feels wonderfully timeless. It reminded me of the adventure novels I couldn't put down as a kid. Stories where ordinary people discover they're capable of extraordinary things. At the center of this novel are two unforgettable girls, Beryl and Carol. They're not superheroes. They don't have magical powers. What they do have is curiosity, loyalty, determination, and the willingness to keep going even when the path ahead is uncertain. And isn't that exactly what we hope our kids discover about themselves? As their adventure unfolds, readers are treated to mysterious clues, hidden dangers, exciting discoveries, and plenty of twists that keeps the pages turning. But what impressed me the most wasn't the mystery itself. It was the friendship. Jeremy reminds me, and us, that courage isn't about never being afraid. Courage is choosing to take the next step because someone you care about is counting on you. That message resonated with me throughout the entire book. I also love that the story encourages kids to put down their screens for a while and imagine themselves exploring the woods, solving mysteries, following maps, asking questions, and most of all, working together. Those are experiences that build confidence, curiosity, and resilience. Parents and grandparents who grew up reading classics like The Boxcar Children, The Secret Garden, or My Side of the Mountain will recognize that same spirit of adventure here. This book has that wonderful, let's see what's over the next hill feeling that has inspired generations of young readers. As with every book we review, there are a few things parents should know. There are moments of danger and suspense, some bullying, and situations that may lead to thoughtful family conversations. I actually see those moments as opportunities for parents and kids to talk together about courage, kindness, and making good choices. Those conversations are one of the reasons we read together with our kids in the first place. Because of its engaging storytelling, memorable characters, and strong themes of friendship and perseverance, and most of all, its ability to inspire imagination, I'm delighted to announce that The Noble Adventures of Beryl and Carol are our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Jeremy Shear has crafted a story that reminds us that the greatest adventures just don't lead us to hidden treasure. They help us discover the courage, friendship, and strength that have been inside us all along. Congratulations, Jeremy, on creating a story that families will enjoy sharing together. Joining us right now from the comfort and safety of a cabin not too far from New York City. Our guest is here today to celebrate his book. It's called Tidy Up Your Life. Please welcome to the show, the Tidy Dad, Tyler Moore. Hey, Tyler, how are you?
In the flesh. Thanks for having me. I always feel like a superhero when there's those announcements. It's the only time I ever in my life feel like a superhero. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, Tidy Dad. I love the title. We all need like a superhero title, right?
I agree, especially being a dad of three. I'm a New York City public school teacher. I feel like whatever sort of like inspiration and motivation I can get or encouragement, I'll take it. So I need a superhero moniker in order to get through the messes that I experience. But yes.
Yeah, if my mom and her sisters were still here on Earth and heard that you're a teacher in New York City, they'd be blessing themselves on your behalf. So Todd, talk to us about Tidy Up Your Life. What's this book all about?
So it follows my mental health journey while also subsequent journey to tidy up our apartment. We were with young kids. My oldest was 3. My youngest was 9 months. I'd also made a decision to transition from being a teacher into school administration. And I had upsized my career at the same time that I had upsized our family size along with my wife. And so as you can imagine, that creates, for a person who had been pretty tidy up until that point, it created a big sort of mental and emotional physical mess. And so the book explores, what does it mean to tidy up your mind? Well, also, what does it look like to tidy up your space? Because for so many people, there is that intersection between a cluttered space and a cluttered mind. And so how do you exactly unpack and get at the root of what is actually causing this mess in the first place?
That's, I joked with Tyler before we hit record about this would have been really come in helpful when my son was in middle school. And, that was a question I could never answer, nor could he, is like, how did we get to this point? Dude, it was clean 2 days ago, and how is it now? I don't understand it.
And for so many people, it isn't just this overnight sort of moment where suddenly this mess presents itself. Mm-hmm. It's oftentimes just this combination of lots of different decisions, while also either routines that are in place or aren't in place. I think we also have different thresholds for how much mess we feel like we can handle. I know for some people, physical mess in your home, it's not something that you're able to sit with. There are the people who they don't feel like they can fully relax until the kitchen counter is clean, the living room is tidy, the work bag is ready to go for the next day. But then sometimes, especially with kids, they may not share those exact same values that we have, may not exactly see the why behind the routines and systems that we've put into place. But any given family, you have to negotiate and you have to figure out, how are we going to come to some sort of agreement on what we deem as being appropriate in terms of the mess or not? What are the systems for when the room is really dirty? Who's responsible for cleaning it up? Also, stepping back even further, it's what has been the product of all of these things coming into a space? Because I feel like so often, again, it's the little decisions. It's the Amazon deliveries. It's going to the grocery store and filling your cart with all of these miscellaneous things that happen to grab your attention at any given time. We don't suddenly just have our homes filled with stuff. It really is the accumulation over time. And so that's something people have to confront too.
Yeah, I guess that happens to me. My office, my beautiful wife pretty much lets me have my studio, and it's fairly tidy. There's little piles of stuff here and there, but it's organized, and I know where things are. But I also do a lot of work in the living room in the evening, and so I have a little table, and the laptop gets there, and some stuff will be over here on the coffee table, and every once in a while there's too much stuff, and my wife comes in and throws it into a box, which I never look into. It's just, well, that's gone.
Yes, we call those our random bins. I'm similar to your wife because we all have different sort of stressors. And for some people, that visual clutter is really overwhelming. Whereas my wife, she leaves things out for herself as a reminder to do them. Or, I'm collecting these things here because I'm about to deal with them. And sometimes I do have to watch myself because I will come behind and it's like the sweep of the arm. You put it in the basket, and then once the basket is full, you sort of go through it. I think that is natural, but even for a room like a living area, that's a shared space. And that's where lots of people are interacting, where lots of life unfolds. And so I do think having systems, having zones set up can help, because when you are misaligned with the people that you live with, that's what creates a really juicy mess, as you probably know, and as I know.
Yeah. So tell me, so I know piles of books and things, that's absolutely not tidy. But what about like 1,001 houseplants all around? I mean, it's beautiful, it's green, but I should stop talking right now and just move.
Well, it's funny because I have been accused by my daughters of having too many houseplants. I actually, just when we got to our cottage this summer, I had a lot of ZZ plants that weren't exactly thriving into their individual pots. And so I was given this large pot, whatever you want to call it, from my grandma when she passed away. And so I was like, why don't I combine all of those ZZ plants into one? And so I repotted all of them. They're now thriving all together. But it's a really nice use of that sentimental pot that had just sort of been sitting in the corner from my grandma. But something I write about a lot is this idea of being able to name for yourself what is just enough. And I think for each of us, we have individual thresholds and categories of things that we really love. If you love houseplants, you should make space for your houseplants. But what that means is that you may need to downsize or say no to another category of things in order to make space for those plants to thrive. And so, I do think that the plants is such a good example, because for each of us, we have those things that we really love. Some people are avid readers and they love their book collections. Other people love the little trinkets that they've collected from all of their travels. But for my family, our New York City apartment is 750 square feet. Our cottage in Pennsylvania is 1,100 square feet. When you combine those two together, that is significantly less than the average size of the American home, which is 2,300 square feet. So it is funny to think about those two spaces, and when we have 5 people living in them, because it's my wife and I plus our 3 daughters, we can't upsize everything. We are forced to make decisions about what to keep and what to move out. And the alternative to that would be to move to a larger space. But I'm a teacher. I live 5 blocks from my school. My children attend the same school where I teach. I'm able to walk home for lunch every day. I eat lunch in my house, and then I walk back to school. And if I had to commute, and in New York City, when you're moving outside of the city, you're talking about an hour to an hour and a half, 2 hours every day each way. What I would have to give up is just not worth the stuff that I may feel so compelled to accumulate.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is you're in New York City and the rents are so reasonable. You can just buy another.
They are, but we've been in, and I joke, we've been in the same apartment for over 12 years now. So it's been interesting to see the evolution of the space from the 2 of us to now 5 of us. We still have the one bathroom. It's a railroad style apartment, so it's long and narrow. So you literally have to walk from one room to the next in order to get through. My wife and I share the smallest bedroom. My daughters, they have a triple bunk. They share the largest bedroom. They have to walk through our bedroom to get to theirs and vice versa. But, it works because we love life in New York City, that people don't live in New York City to just stay inside your apartment. You go for the parks, the people, the restaurants, the museums, the shops, the experiences, the playgrounds. And so for me, there's power in inspiring and motivating people to align their ideal lifestyle with their physical space and where they live, because what we all desire and want is so different. Not everybody needs to live in New York City, because my rent would majorly go up. But I think it's really neat when you think about that congruence of, what are my goals? What are my dreams? What are my aspirations? What do I want from my family and my hobbies and my interests, while also factoring in your home? Because so many people find themselves in these huge, massive homes that end up undermining what they actually want from life.
Yeah. How did you become the tidy dad?
Well, it was really out of that mental health crisis that I made the decision to return to teaching after my 3-year stint as a school administrator, which I am grateful for the wonderful school administrators out there, because it is a very important job, but it was not for me. I feel like it sort of drained the passion and the love that I had for teaching from my life, while also it took time away from my family that I did not like feeling on call when I left school and I knew that I was going to have emails, and my day was dictated the next morning based on who was calling out or what issues were already sort of brewing. So after returning to the classroom, and us sort of tidying up our physical space, I started writing and blogging. And I started on Instagram because that seemed to be the best method at the time. But then they had these really wild sort of character limits. And I was like, how do I tell a story in 150 characters? And so I sort of put pencil to paper and then fingers to typewriter, or not typewriter, my laptop, and started blogging and sharing. And that's when Tidy Dad sort of started to pick up, because I think people were interested in the tidying and the organizing and cleaning sort of ideas, which are obviously in the book, but I think they wanted to see what was the deeper message behind that. Because when we're thinking about 2017, 2018, 2019, and then moving through the pandemic, I feel like we've all been through the ringer and also been through this sort of reckoning within ourselves of, what exactly do I want from life? Do I want to continue pursuing more positional power at work? Which if you do, that's great and fine. But what happens if you don't really want to do that? And I think I am helping people just give them permission to think about what could possibly be different. And again, how to carve out that own definition of what is just enough and what actually does it mean to tidy up my own life. I think that's what's important.
It sounds like you're encouraging people not only to tidy up their spaces, but to tidy up their minds and how they're thinking about life and seeing life.
I think it's so important because different seasons of life place different demands on us. That, you know, if you can imagine and think back to when you were talking about your son being in middle school compared to when he was a baby, the mental, emotional, and physical demands that were placed on you are so incredibly different. I hear from people who are taking care of aging parents, people who are navigating, you know, a divorce in a relationship, or moving across the country, or making big decisions about, are we going to expand our family? I think that we all have these seasons where mentally and emotionally we can feel like a mess. And if you are just on full throttle, steam ahead all the time, that's not really going to help. That there have to be those moments of personal reflection. There have to be those times where you learn how to declutter the physical stuff around you and then hone those decision-making abilities so that you can declutter the other stuff around you. Me making the decision to return to teaching. How was I able to do that? Well, I had sort of honed my chops of decision-making as I was like sorting through my clothing. We were going through our book collection, thinking about our kitchen and how can we make meal times just a little bit more efficient. Thinking about what do we want our girls to independently be able to grab when they need it, and what do we want to have higher up on shelves. That I think within the home, that's the like lower stakes decisions that you're able to make, because nobody really cares about how many coffee mugs you have. Nobody really cares if when you open your toiletry cabinet, all of your stuff falls out on you. Like, yes, you may have a guest over, they may be snooping in your cabinet, and they may find that annoying, but it doesn't actually have a huge impact on other people or in some ways yourself. But yet, when you give yourself permission to really be attuned to what do I enjoy, what do I like, what are my personal preferences, I think there's power in then translating that to much higher stakes decisions that we all face.
Yeah. How do we teach some of these skills to our kids?
So one thing that's so important is I think that this process of decision making, it's a life sort of cycle, that there is a fixed amount of resources. There is a fixed amount of stuff. And even thinking about my daughters with their bedroom, it's 3 of them sharing one bedroom. And when things start to feel tight or tough, that's a moment where we need to declutter a particular category of items. And so we've started working from the time that the girls were little, trying to honor their decisions around what they want to keep and what they want to move out, but them seeing that this is a natural, sort of normal part of life. I also think that kids are always watching us. They watch how we spend money. They watch what comes into our homes. They see how we spend our time. They see how much time we're consuming on the phone. There's so many things that we can do just from modeling that help our children see that tidying up, again, any one of those categories is something that's sort of like a normal, natural rhythm to life. But again, you have to hone your chops, just like you want to hone your kids' chops. So many people start with, you have way too many toys. We're just going to go through all of them. I don't know who brought in all those toys. It was probably your grandma, but we've got to I'm sick of this being all over the floor. Whereas there are other categories like a kid's pajama collection. They could tell you pretty quickly without any emotional stake what pajamas they like to wear, what pajamas they don't like to wear. They could talk to you about their toothbrush and their toothpaste. What do they really love about that toothpaste? Is it the flavor? Is it the little bottle? I think that so often we fail to see the value in sort of listening to our kids, getting to know them and understand their individual preferences, but then helping them connect, making those decisions to other bigger decisions. I think that's where there really is power. And we can begin to empower our kids by, again, helping them see that sorting through things is a natural sort of part of life. The other alternative is, I guess, just to accumulate, but that's going to feel completely overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. You know, I like that. And, you know, of course, here at Reading with Your Kids, we encourage families to read together all the way through your kids' life, especially after they start reading independently. And that means talking to the kids about the stories, about the decisions the characters are making. I think that you could easily slide right into talking to your kids about what's important in their stuff. What stuff of theirs is important, helping them kind of figure it out on their own. What, you know, I got this space. I only have so much space. What do I want to keep? What can I share with others? So I think it's just a natural extension of what we started when we first cuddled up with our kids reading, Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah, and I love that mission because, you know, one of the things that in my own life that has been so beneficial for this season is I've been an early riser, that it's helpful for me to beat my kids to the wake up, that my oldest is 11, my middle is 9, my youngest is 6. They've always been early risers. My oldest is still waking up in the 6s every morning, even in the summertime. So that means that from the time they were little, I was waking up in the 4s or the 5s, but that gave me fuel for the day, and it's not something that I'll probably do forever. But one of the things that I love is that they'll oftentimes find me either reading my book, or they'll see that my book has been like placed on the coffee table, or when they walk out in the morning, they're excited to tell me about what they just read at night before they went to sleep. And I just think that reading, it's so important. Our kids need to see us with books in our hands. They need to see us talking about characters and talking about what we're learning. And I do feel like in order to do that, you've got to make the space, because I hear from people so often, they'll say, oh, well, that must be nice that you have time to read a book. I have to do X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, you know what? It is really nice that I'm able to read a book. This is something that I really value. I want to have margin and choice time, as I call it, in my life. And so what does that mean? That means that I have also ruthlessly decluttered other aspects of my life in order to make that possible and make that happen. So I do think you've got to make space for what matters most. And I think that that's individual to every person. But I do feel like it's the teacher and the dad in me that we have to read. That there was just a study, I read an article today that it was about literacy rates, and people were saying that we would have, by this time in our history, we would have near universal literacy, that it would be at 100%. And people are saying, as you know, are the reading lives of people dying out? Is this something that we have now moved beyond because of the culture that we're in? But I think there is something so important about having that physical book. And for our kids to see us reading too. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I received a pitch the other day from someone who wanted to come on the podcast to celebrate the fact that, she helped this school get up to 30%, 40% of the third graders are reading on grade level. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to celebrate 40%.
I know.
Yes, it's better than it was, but man, we got a long way to go.
I know. And it's when it's hard because, again, this is the teacher in me. It's like schools have a responsibility, obviously, but we also only have the kids for 6 hours a day. And parents have to, going to the library, it has to be something that is part of your reading life and part of just sort of that normal rhythm. And again, it's even with the summer. You know, I'm grateful for the decision that I made years ago to step back from school administration because I have my summers with my children. I'm not sitting in a school planning for all of the things that are going to unfold. And again, it's not to discourage people from becoming school administrators. If that's what you want to do and you feel called to do it, do it, because we need good ones. But this guy didn't really feel that calling, even though my dad was a principal. But I love saying, girls, let's get on our bikes and let's ride to the library so we can get new books, because I just finished my book and I really need a new one. Like, that is a really beautiful conversation to have with your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. My beautiful wife taught in the Boston Public Schools for 34 years. Had lots of administrative friends, and it's funny. I don't know about you, but it happens when we talk to teachers who become authors and they come on the show and they'll say, yeah, I did 34 years teaching in Boston. I'm like, are you talking about a prison sentence or a career?
I know, it's how I always refer, because I'm like, what do I call it? Do I call it a 3-year stint? Because that also sounds a little bit like prison. But yes, no, it's so funny. Because even, it's like teachers in New York City, they're constantly sort of swapping. How many years do you have? How many years that? But I do feel like, having been a teacher, transitioning into school administration and then back to teaching, there is such joy and love that I have every day going into the classroom. And people often ask, they're like, but why aren't you just full-time tidy dad? And I'm like, there are aspects of me that I share through my writing, but there's also a whole host, this whole other side to me that I don't. And yet also, I love being with the kids every day, that there's something to every year getting that fresh start with a new group, being able to set up those routines and systems, and then at the end of the year, saying goodbye to them and reflecting on what am I going to do differently as I transition in, the next year. But I love what I do. I love being able to write. And so it's been nice to be able to find this balance, but also feel like my job, I don't know, is also enhancing my life with my children, with my wife, and just being able to feel like a human, because so many of us struggle with that too.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, the team here, I have great interns from Emerson College, and they know that I don't use a set of questions, but they suggested I should ask this question at the end of most interviews, and so we're giving it a shot. What would you love for a kid to hear at the end of their day when they're going to bed from an adult that they loved?
Oh, that's such a good question. And also a very, it makes me a little emotional because I'm thinking about with my own children. You know, I think one is telling our kids, I would hope that they would have an adult just say that I love you, because I think that so often stopping to look someone in the eye and just saying, I love you is such a powerful moment. But I also think something like, I just so enjoyed being with you today, that I think time is such a beautiful gift that we have. Time is so fleeting. There are so many things competing for our time and our energy. And even when I think about my own work as Tidy Dad and with teaching and trying to balance all that I have, what my children truly care about is my time. And was I present with them? Did I see them? Did I, have a laugh with them? Did I listen to them? So I would say that those are, I would hope the kids would have from an adult.
That's good. I was worried you were going to say, tomorrow we're going to tidy up this room, but you didn't. we don't want to hear that at the end of the night.
No. Have I said that before? Yes. But I followed up with, I love you. I love you.
Yes, I did specify last night. Tyler, let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Tidy Up Your Life and find out more about you.
Yeah, so on socials, I'm known as Tidy Dad. I also have a podcast that's called Tidy Tidbits. The episodes are between 5 to 10 minutes. It's a short little burst of inspiration on how to tidy something up. And I also share new writings on Substack, which is titled The Tidy Time. So basically, you Google the word tidy, and you will see Marie Kondo, and then you'll see me.
And if Tidy Whitey comes up, that's not Tyler or Marie.
That one has not come up yet in the Google search, but now that we're putting it out there, it will. Oh, that's funny.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of Tidy Up Your Life. Our guest has been the Tidy Dad, Tyler Moore. Hey, Tyler, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks.
Hey, my friends, I want to tell you about a coffee company I recently discovered that really lines up with the values we talk about right here at Reading with Your Kids. It's called Afrera Coffee Company, and they're doing things the right way. The coffee is sourced directly from certified Rainforest Alliance farms in Central and South America, with a big focus on farms in El Salvador. I love El Salvador. They work directly with local farmers, support sustainable farming practices, and even use recyclable and combustible packaging. Now, all of that would already make me feel good about supporting them, but honestly, the coffee itself, it's fantastic. You can really taste the quality. The beans are grown in rich volcanic soil and carefully roasted, so the flavor really comes through smooth, rich, and super aromatic. Now, whether you're somebody who loves a strong espresso to get moving in the morning, or you prefer a lighter roast while reading a good book, Afrera has something you're going to enjoy. And this is kind of beautiful. 5% of all their sales goes to charities helping conserve and preserve the great outdoors. So if you'd like to try coffee that tastes amazing and supports good people doing good work, head on over to afreracoffee.com. That's AFUERA coffee.com, and use the promo code READ to get an exclusive 15% off your order. And of course, when you use the code, you're also helping support the podcast. Great coffee and helping families grow closer together. I call that a pretty magical way to start your day. You know, one of my favorite family memories growing up, and honestly still today, is gathering around the grill in the summertime. Good food, kids running around, laughing, maybe somebody reading on a picnic blanket while dinner cooks. There's just something magical about it. And speaking of cookouts, I want to tell you about a company our family has been enjoying called Big Fork Brands. Now, friends, this is not ordinary cookout food. Big Fork makes incredible bacon sausage, craft jerky, meat sticks, and those amazing Chicago-style sauces that instantly level up burgers, hot dogs, fries, all your cookout favorites. Their bacon sausage is kind of legendary. they combine hardwood smoked bacon with premium pork and create flavors like hickory and applewood, maple and brown sugar, and spicy 3-pepper. Honestly, it sounds fancy, but it's really just fun, delicious food families can enjoy together. And another thing I really appreciate, they work with small Iowa farms, raising heritage hogs outdoors without any antibiotics. So there's a real commitment to quality and sustainability behind everything they make. So here's my challenge to you this summer. Plan a read together cookout night. Fire up the grill. Put the phones away for a little while. Enjoy a great meal together. And end the evening reading together as a family. And to help make it happen, Big Fork Brands is giving our listeners an exclusive 20% discount. Just head on over to bigforkbrands.com and use the promo code READ at checkout. Great food, great conversation, great books. That sounds like real magic to me. Join us right now from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Our guest is here today to talk to us about the Platypus Media and Science Naturalese Literacy Access Initiative. Please welcome to the show, Eileen Halpin. Eileen, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jed. How are you today?
Wonderful. I'm really excited to have you on the program. We are all about supporting families reading together, really inspiring that magic that happens when kids and parents or kids and loved ones get together to read. And you folks are doing the same thing. You're helping make that happen.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you and I feel both the same exact sentiment regarding that mission. And especially with all the things going on in the world today, what keeps me waking up every morning is participating and being an active participant in that mission of basically investing in the next generation through the power of books. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I wanted to thank you again so much for having me on today.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. I love that you use the word investment, because it really is true that when we spend time with our kids and when we're reading with them, I'll be honest with you, I started the Reading with Your Kids podcast back in 2017, just because I know that my relationship with my now adult kids was built on a foundation of reading. And I know that they were getting some benefits out of it when we were reading together. But man, I was getting benefits out of it too. It was awesome. I loved it. I love the fact that we bonded together. In the course of hosting the 2,400 plus episodes of the show, I'm finding out that there's so many more benefits that kids are getting. They're becoming literate. We just learned that kids who are read to, that is the single biggest predictor of future success. If you're reading with your kids, you have a way better chance of being happy, being successful. And boy, I'm glad I'm in this fight with you, having you on my back.
Yes, and I'm the art director and senior editor at Platypus Media and Science Naturally by day. I spend my days making books, and by night, I'm a mom to a 14-month-old baby, so I spend my nights reading them. So it's a full round perspective on seeing these creations in practice and seeing the benefit in real time. And being in the publishing industry and seeing how it benefits and touches our children, it reminds me of that Greek proverb of planting seeds to trees that we will never feel the shade of. And I know I grew up, my dad, he's since passed, but he always took me to the library. And that was such a fun day and a point of connection. And he never controlled what book I would read. He was just making it and normalizing it and making a fun little adventure to go and touch all these spines and feel them under my fingertips and see the pictures. And that's something that has really drawn me to this career and something I'm also passing along to my own son.
Great. Congratulations on the 14-month-old. That must be exciting and exhausting.
But super rewarding.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us about Platypus Media and Science Naturally. What's your mission other than, supporting literacy? What type of books are you guys creating?
Absolutely. So a little bit about us and our background is we're a mission-driven publisher stationed in Washington, D.C. And we were founded in 2000 by D.M. Michaels, who is an award-winning author in women's health and early childhood development. And she's also one of our celebrated authors at the company. So we have distribution with Lakeside. And in addition to that, we do a lot of partnerships through our mission-driven collective here with literacy organizations, nonprofits, health clinics, and Title I schools, because what we all believe here is the purpose of making books is not so they sit on a shelf. It's so they're in the kids' hands and they're reading them and they're learning, and we're filling up their cups. Mm-hmm. And also the cups of the parent-child bond as well. So right now, in regards to that mission, we're running a literacy access initiative called Giving Back Through the Power of Books, because it's something we believe in so profoundly. It's a new initiative and we're very excited about it. And we've had the opportunity to be featured in Publishers Weekly about it, as well as Associated Press. And the Literacy Access Initiative, we're offering $2.50 per paperback, $3 per hardback, with a 500 minimum order, free domestic shipping, only while supplies last. And we've so far had the opportunity to help out many different organizations like United Through Reading, which works with military families, and Family Reading Partners, which is all of their nonprofit that support the parent-child bond. And within those communities that we've been able to touch upon, I just feel so empowered and excited by the kids and the families that we're benefiting, that because a part of this mission is we don't believe that budget constraints should be an obstacle or a hurdle to prevent the many benefits that books offer to not only kids, but like we have consistently touched upon, Jed, families, between that parent-child bond and relationship. And so that's what we're offering. So with Platypus Media, I like to view that as the heart, because that branch, in addition to Science Naturally, it focuses on books that grow with the whole family. So we have children's books and books for parents. Our children's books empower early childhood development through animals with evidence-based care. And within that, we have a collection called the Beginnings Collection, which Dia has written a number of books, like her latest book, My Community Loves Me, which it's very unique in its storytelling because it has a line for baby or child, an animal fact that it connects to metaphorically, and then a line for the parent. And that's the format it follows through the book, where it's relating, it's starting between the parent and the child, but then it extends to the whole village that raises that child, and correlating it to different animals and communities that do that as well. So in the Beginnings Collection, it basically explores family bonding and the universal language of love by nurturing early childhood development through animals. And our books for parents under Platypus Media, we have a bestseller and award-winning author James McKenna, PhD, who has written Safe Infant Sleep. And he's the leading expert in co-sleeping with the mother-infant bond and breast sleeping and SIDS prevention. And we work with so many different authors and clinicians and things like that inform our text. So they are up to date and giving that most critical educational advice and resources to our audience.
Wow. That's really, really exciting. I love I love the mission. How did you get involved? And how long have you been working with the folks at Platypus?
I just joined this past spring. I had the opportunity to basically line up. I had been going back to school for a publishing practice graduate certificate at George Mason. And in my career, I've had the opportunity to work in different fields as art director before, but children's books has been something that's always brought me back because of that mission. And when I was taking care of my father through hospice, I had kind of like disconnected from that passion, but I actually had a very difficult pregnancy, and my son ended up in the NICU. And one of the things that brought me back was I didn't have the opportunity at all times to hold my son or touch my son because he was within the incubator, but there was a program of volunteers called Book Buddies, and they stopped by, they gave a form, and they said, with your consent, of course, we would love to read books for your son. So because they're in the NICU, they're isolated in these little rooms. They're not even with other babies. They're by themselves. And so that was the only point of connection I had with him, and the only point of connection really that he had with other people, considering the nurses, they were so loving and caring, but they're pricking him for his blood and things like that. That one of the only like positive associations was reading, and it just had brought me back to like, this is something worth fighting for. This is what, this is like one of the rays of hope in life. And I just became super determined to work in children's publishing to contribute to that mission.
Yeah. Now, you said earlier that the sales, this isn't something a family hops online and orders a couple of books. This is something, you said 500 book minimum, or was it
Correct.
So 500 book minimum at $3 for book, I think is one of the figures you said. That's a fairly inexpensive investment that a corporation could make or a civic group could make to get a lot of books into kids' hands.
So I think we were breaking up a little bit.
We did have a little break up there. I was saying that there's a 500 book minimum, and you're selling books at $3. So it's $1,500. A civic group like a Kiwanis Club or a pizza shop could make a fairly reasonable investment to bring books into their community. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yes, absolutely. That's the whole idea about it and the intention.
Is this this initiative, something that you've been doing ongoing, or is this a brand new initiative?
Brand new. Just been a couple of months, the start of the summer, essentially.
Yeah. Was it your idea? Did the team get together and go, hey, let's have a literacy party this summer?
This was our COO, Ali Trujillo, his idea that he really wanted to do something that was mission driven and impactful, especially with summer coming up and to combat the summer slide and to help teachers and educators and different nonprofits prepare for the upcoming school year. It just seemed like all the lines had lined up perfectly that this was the time to launch this.
Yeah. Well, let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about the initiative and get involved.
Absolutely. So you can go to sciencenaturally.com/givingback to download your own order form, check out our catalog of what titles, and place your order today.
We've had a really fun time speaking to the art director and senior editor for Platypus Media and Science Naturally, telling us about their Literacy Access Initiative. Our guest has been Eileen Halpin. Hey, Eileen, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Jed, for having me.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review and, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. We also want to invite you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram, at Jedley Magic on X, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids, and our website, it's readingwithyourkids.com. That website is important if you are an author of a great children's book. Please be sure to visit readingwithyourkids.com and click on the Authors Click Here button way up at the top of the page. That way you can find out how you can be a guest here on Reading With Your Kids. Being a guest is fun. It's easy to give you the chance to tell thousands of Kidlit fans all over the world about your fantastic children's book. You'll also be able to find out how you can submit your book to our Certified Great Read team. You heard earlier that The Noble Adventures of Beryl and Carol by Jeremy Sher is our latest Reading With Your Kids Certified Great Read. We'd love to announce to the world that your book is also a book worthy of their attention. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Tyler Moore, the Tiny Dad. Please be sure to check out Tidy Up Your Life. Also want to thank Eileen Halpin. Please be sure to check out Platypus Media and Science Naturally's Literacy Access Initiative. I want to thank my incredible team, Ella Badier, Daylene Rose Advina Lopez, Chris Doherty. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the love and support she brings to my life. Most of all, we want to thank you. You are a superhero. You're doing things to make your kids' life so much better. You're working hard to give your kids great experiences, great opportunities. Please remember, the greatest gift you can give your kids is the gift of yourself, your time, your attention. So please make sure you spend every day spending a little bit of time reading with your kids. It really does make the world a better, more empathetic place, and it is the single biggest predictor of whether or not your child will be happy and successful in life. Hey, I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
Where the morning whispers through the ancient trees, two hearts walk together on the wandering breeze. Every winding pathway, every hidden stone, call them toward a destiny they'd never known. When the shadows gathered, when the daylight dimmed, hope became the lantern burning deep within. The greatest treasure was never made of gold. It lives inside the brave hearts that refuse to let go. Every step together, every mountain climbed, turns an ordinary story into something that will shine. The greatest treasure is the courage we become. Maps may fade with seasons, castles turn to dust, but the friends beside us teach us who to trust. Every fear we conquer, every tear we dry, leaves another reason to lift our eyes. When tomorrow calls us far beyond the hill, we'll remember every promise, every dream fulfilled. Not because the journey inside every heartbeat, inside every song, every hand we offer, every hope we share, made us richer than a kingdom, hidden anywhere. The greatest treasure is the courage that we share. Adventure never ends. It simply waits for someone brave enough to take